Our fiery waifu bodyguard Evelyn is almost here in Zenless Zone Zero. And believe me when I say that she is hot. Aside from the pun in this video today, we're gonna break down some first impressions of Evelyn since we finally have some access to her through the story. We'll talk about her full kit, some potential team synergies, Mindscapes, and more with the information that we have. Sit back, relax, and let's talk about my new waifu. First, if you haven't played the story, you absolutely should because they cooked and I love it a lot. Don't worry though, because we won't spoil anything here. And let's start with her kit. Evelyn is our upcoming S-rank fire attack unit from the Stars of Lyra. She will be our second member of Stars of Lyra and feature in the second half of 1.5. Her kit primarily focuses on two strong concepts. First is Evelyn's main resource, Burning Embers, which eventually turn to Burning Tether Points. If you look right under Evelyn's face, you'll see this meter with 3 pips at the end, which is where we will indicate how many resources we have. The meter portion is our Burning Embers, and this will accumulate through using Evelyn's skills. Once you have about 50% of this meter full, you can turn this into a burning tether point by either activating Garrote or her ultimate. More on those two skills in just a little bit. When you use Garrote again, you'll consume all these points and instead use a lower interrupt level version of her chain attack, Luna Lux Snare. This will be her primary loop in gameplay, as we'll talk about after the second important concept, Binding Seal. This is a state in which Evelyn has the enemy wrapped around her little finger and is applied through a couple of different ways. The 5th hit of regular basic attack, chain attack, dodge counter, special attack, and ultimate are the 5 ways. You'll see how important and strong this Binding Seal is, especially for her fun, fluid, quick gameplay style as we talk about the rest of her skills. Evelyn has the highest amount of different moves, skills, and follow-ups that she can perform over any agent in the entire game, so it can be a little confusing. Make sure if you do have any questions, leave them in a comment below. Basic attack Razor Wire is a 5-hit combo dealing physical and fire damage. When the 5th hit lands against an enemy, you'll use Luna Lux Garrote to enter the Binding Seal. When that Burning Embers meter is at 50% or higher, hold down the basic attack button to activate Garrote First Form. This is a powerful slashing move dealing big fire damage. Your anti-interrupt level will increase and damage taken is reduced by 40%, while also giving you 1 burning tether point. If you have enough of the Burning Embers meter, you can follow up the first form with Garrote's second form. This does the exact same thing as the first form, and it will also grant you 1 burning tether point. This Garrote first and second form will be the primary way you get these burning tether points, so they're very important. Next up, let's go to Special Attack Locked Position. This is used before entering the Binding Seal, and will use her weapon to pull the enemy and charge forward with a strong kick, dealing fire damage. This will also lead to entering the Binding Seal. This leads us to why Binding Seal is so important. Firstly, through Special Attack Binding Sunder First Form. Once you have the Binding Seal on an enemy, you can press or hold the special button to activate it. This will focus in on the target that has Binding Seal, grab the surrounding enemies, and make an explosion of fire damage. If you perfect dodge an enemy's attack, you'll gain an additional 25% Burning Embers while using the skill. But here's where some of her fluidity and fun comes into her combo game. Once you have all the enemies tethered in the Binding Seal, you can cancel the detonation part and immediately follow up into basic attack's 3rd hit. In other words, what I found to be the best was to go from basic attack 3, 4, and 5, applying that tether into her special attack and back to basic attack 3, or just triggering the detonation for big fire damage. In a weird way, this is pretty similar to Yanagi's quick stance change styles, in between Jyogen and Kagen stances. However, if you have enough energy when using the special, it will turn into the EX special attack Binding Sunder Final Form. This EX special attack is pretty much the exact same as the regular special attack, except it'll do a lot more damage. There isn't much to say about her dodges and assists, except for her dodge counter also giving us that Binding Seal. Her assist follow-up as well as her chain attack will also enter the Binding Seal, but once your Despo rating is at 3000 aka max, you know what time it is. Press Q to activate Ultimate Luna Lux Garrote Timbre. Not only does this cause a huge explosion dealing massive fire damage, but Bodyguard Mommy will enter the Dance of Awakened Fire state by throwing off her jacket. This new awakened fire state will last the entire remainder of the battle. The biggest thing to remember about this state is that when Evelyn consumes burning tether points to activate that chain attack we talked about earlier, she will retain 1 point of the burning tethers. In other words, after you use Evelyn's ultimate, you'll be able to retain your burning tether points better and enter that chain attack way faster. Additionally, the ultimate will cause the enemy to enter Binding Seal and gain you an extra burning tether point. If you look at her skill info list, you'll see that there's a second ultimate listed here called Shadow, but this is literally the exact same thing, it's just her ultimate when she's in the Dance of Awakened Fire state. In fact, you still get all of the same attributes as the regular ultimate. Compared to what we just talked about, her core passive Entangle and additional ability are way simpler. The core passive states that when you enter Binding Seal, your crit rate is increased by 25% at max level. This is already really good and has a lot of build implications that we'll talk about in the early access Evelyn guide coming out very soon. Anyway, after leaving the Binding Seal, you'll still retain that crit rate increase for 10 seconds. Also, if you switch to another character while Binding Seal is on, Evelyn will automatically follow up with her special attack Binding Sunder, first form. Additional ability Ambush Point is activated when another stun or support character is on the same team. Evelyn's chain attack and ultimate damage are increased by 30% for free. When her crit rate is at or over 80%, the damage multiplier for these two moves goes to 125% of the original value. Basically,
that's a lot of damage!
Now that we know her kit and core passives, we can talk about what her potential team synergies could be. While she's definitely not as universal as the unit we have right now, Astra Yao, that is going to be her best partner. While I will be testing all of these different teams in the early access videos, the best fire team in the game will definitely be Astra Yao, Evelyn, and then Lighter. You'll get all of the good fire resistance debuffs and fire damage buffs from Lighter, as well as the stacking damage and attack bonuses from Astra Yao. This team will automatically meet all of the core passives as well, and you'll be able to use the new Bang Boost Snap since there's 2 stars of Lyra. Alternatively, you could also use Kalita if you have her from the standard banner, Lucy as a very good support in general, especially in fire teams, and Mr. Ben Beeger always deserves a shout out just for being one of my favorites. But let's also think about this from an anomaly standpoint too. I'm very interested to try out a Bernice composition as well, something along the lines of Bernice, Evelyn, and Lucy, or a different third spot flex. Something else that we have information about now is Evelyn's Mindscapes from the story. Mindscape 1 states that Evelyn will immediately have 1500 decibels on entering the battlefield. The rest of this just says that Binding Seal will apply a new debuff called Bound. This will automatically ignore 12% of the enemy's defense, and when you use Special Attack First Form or EX Special Attack Final Form, this will upgrade to hitting every enemy by the skill and will last for 10 seconds. In other words, a free 1500 decibels as well as a 12% AoE defense ignore. Mindscape 2 is an automatic 15% attack boost. This will raise the interrupt level on that chain attack Luna Lux snare, but more importantly, when you use basic attack Garrote in either form, you will be refunded the burning embers. This will trigger once every 25 seconds. Mindscape 4 gives Evelyn a 10% of her max HP shield when using chain attack or ultimate, and while she has this shield, her crit damage will increase by 40%. Mindscape 6 is quite a doozy and will give Evelyn a new Shadow String Edge buff when using chain attack or ultimate. Whenever you use basic attack, dash attack, special, or EX special, you'll get an extra follow-up dealing fire damage equal to 375% of Evelyn's attack. This is considered chain attack damage and can trigger up to 16 times. And the number of these triggers will be refreshed each time you get the Shadow String buff. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Evelyn will probably be our best attack unit when she fully releases and will be chock full of fire damage. Even from the little bit we get to play her in the new special episode, we can already see that she's gonna have a very fun, fluid gameplay style. And there you have it for a first impressions video on Evelyn. Let me know what you think about her and if you're gonna poll her in the comments below. I can't wait to hear from you all and discuss Evelyn further. Like this video if it helped in any way, and subscribe for more Zenless Zone Zero content, including those early access Evelyn guides where we will break down everything coming up soon. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.